Come on in the room. Come on in the room. We got to talk tonight, people. Come on in the room. Bucks lose it in double OT. 128-124 to the Los Angeles Lakers. Second time they lost. They just played the Lakers, like a couple weeks ago? And just lost to the Lakers. No LeBron both times. 128-124. Bucks blew a 19-point lead, making me look like an idiot because I was just talking about the Boston Celtics blowing the 30-point lead to the Hawks, and now the Bucks do the same thing the next night. But it was even it wasn't worse because it wasn't a 30-point lead, but you blew it at home. 128-124. Come on in the room. Doc is our doctor. He writes out all of our scripts. He gives us our medicine in our room. We are live at the Cream City crossover. It's the Guru, Trey Crosby III.
JT.
Chris King.
Yeah, fellas, this wasn't the night. This wasn't the night tonight. And again, this thing started off. We thought that we had something going. The first half was excellent. The first quarter was excellent from the Milwaukee Bucks. This thing starts off as just you think you're gonna have a great night. I don't have the score in front of what the score was starting off in the first quarter, but the Bucks dropped. I think it was like 34 to 20 or something in the first. You're up 16 points or whatever it is. You get a 19-point lead and you absolutely blow it. And again, there were just so many things that went wrong with this basketball game, from the late game execution to Damian Lillard just shooting shots all night long, couldn't hit. Khris Middleton probably is one of his worst games coming back, even though he fills up the stat sheet. Just not a good game from him. And there were just so many problems with what took place with the Bucks tonight. 128-124. Let's talk about it, and let's start it off as we always do with our game recap, sponsored as always by who?
The law offices of Daily M. Johnson. When you need defense, where?
Off the court. And the
right.
Bucks defense for part of this game, some of this game was good. Some of it wasn't as good. But when you need defense off the court, you call the law office of Daily M. Johnson. He's helping you out with criminal defense, traffic and OWI defense, temporary restraining orders, and injunction. He hails from Marquette University Law School. Daily M. Johnson, 608-893-8370. Go to his website, www.dmjlaw.com. Sign up for a free phone or in-person consultation. He's serving Central and South Central Wisconsin. I might have said that once, but it's so nice I'll say it twice. Call my guy, Daily M. Johnson. If you are out in the streets of Milwaukee, you don't know what to do after this loss, 128-124. And hey, sometimes you might just walk up and slap somebody. You might just walk up and slap somebody on the street right now after this loss.
Listen, you know what? And if your house in Miami gets raided and your house in California gets raided at the same time, go ahead, call your boy Daily M. Johnson too. Right?
Yes.
Because he'll definitely help you if Homeland Security is after that ass. Wow.
Yes, we had to talk about that. But yeah, Daily M. Johnson, call him, go to his website, get some help. The Bucks need some help. I need some help after 128-124 loss to the LA Lakers. Let's do the game recap. Oh yeah, if you need to get at me, the Twitter's already rolling. People are coming in with their comments. We will get to all of your comments. Maybe not all, but a lot of them at TCIIIESQ on the Twitter. And we'll also get at them in the chat as well. Chat, what's up? I'll get to you guys in a second, too. Tell me how you're feeling about this loss, 128-124. We got to talk about a lot of different things here. Giannis, 29, 21, 11. And he messed around, got a triple-double, 14 and 25. Now, there are questions. Was he silent? Did he do a disappearing act in some of the overtime periods? We can talk about some of that, why that was. He was 1 of 6 from the line, missed 2 free throws, important free throws late in the game. Overall, Giannis has a good night, hits his numbers again, 29 and 20, 29 and 21. That's a Barbara Walters double-double, 2020 night. But again, a triple-double, 29, 21, 21, 11. So a good game overall, but we'll talk about Giannis's game. Khris Middleton followed up on the triple-double with 12.6 boards and 7 assists. But again, 12 points on 15 shots. It just wasn't good enough. From Khris Middleton. Brook Lopez, 9.6 boards. He had good moments, but didn't play well throughout. Malik Beasley, 21 points, 8 of 18, 5 of 14 from 3. Beasley took a lot of shots in the overtime periods. I don't know if that was the game plan. I don't know if that was just happenstance because he just happened to be open a lot. And again, a lot of his shots, he's open. Like, nobody's saying he's not open, but is he the guy you want constantly taking shots in multiple overtime periods, multiple three-point looks when you're trying to get the ball to your stars? He did hit his fair share of them. I don't think there's any question about that. but he missed a lot too. Damian Lillard, 27, 8, and 5. 27 points on 29 shots. He was 9 of 29 from the field, 31%, and 3 of 14 from 3. Abysmal from the three-point line. He just didn't do it. And then Bobby Portis, 18 points, 13 rebounds. I thought Bobby off the bench did about as much as you could ask him to do. Late in that game, he missed a lot of layups and shots that you thought he could have made. But overall, you all right?
Yeah, man. Dust in the nose.
And said a little allergies out there. But Bobby did as much as he could. Jay Crowder with 5 points as well. Pat Connaughton, 3 points, 3 boards, and 9 assists from Pat Connaughton. No Pat Bev tonight. I thought we'll talk about that too. In the second quarter, the second quarter unit was not very good. I think some of that was because they didn't have a point guard on the floor. Going to the Lakers side of things, D'Angelo Russell got hot. 29, 12, and 7. 7 of 22, 5 of 12 from 3. And we've talked about it over and over again. Opposing guards outplaying your superstar. D'Angelo Russell, again, outplays Damian Lillard in a basketball game. Like that just happened 2 times in a row. And I know the Dame fans will try to, he's the gravity. I'm just saying he got outplayed. You could also Anthony Davis outplayed GA as well. There's no doubt about that. 34 and 23. He was 12. He did take 31 shots, but so he was 12 for 31 tonight, 7 of 7 from the line. Had some key blocks late in that game as well. Rui Hachimura I thought was very good, 16 and 14. Just look at these numbers that the role players got from LA. So the Bucks had 21 boards from Giannis and 13 boards from Portis. The Lakers had 14 boards from Hachimura, 23 boards from Anthony Davis, and a 29, 14, and 10 from Reaves, right? So Austin Reaves gives you a triple-double. So Austin Reaves played a better – think again, we're talking about guard play. Austin Reaves had D'Angelo Russell had a better guard game than Damian Lillard. And I know, sometimes you call Reaves, he's a combo guard. I mean, I know he plays small forward, but to me, Austin Reaves is a guard. 29, 14, and 10. He outplays Damian Lillard as well. Spencer Dinwiddie was trash, 7 points, 4 assists. Taurean Prince he was acting goofy. Had that behind the back pass late in the game, but they were down like 15. He throwing the ball behind his back, 9 points. And nobody else was really impactful. Jackson Hayes with 2 points, 4 boards. But again, the Bucks was 128, 124. Let's get into it a little bit. I think the first half, first quarter, very good from the Bucks. I thought they executed well. I thought defensively they flew around, played really well. In the second quarter, again, my issue was just the fact that I didn't think offensively that group was led very well. And again, some of those problems was the fact that they didn't have a point guard on the floor. The third quarter, again, kind of got some turnover and just sloppy play throughout. And then it happened. And what ended up happening, D'Angelo Russell got hot. And Austin Reaves, if you think about it, Austin Reaves had 5 points in the first half. He finishes with 29, right? And so that's kind of how it went. Guys start hitting shots, and the Bucks continue to shoot the ball poorly. And we talked about this and we've asked this question, and we'll talk about it as the show goes on. Can you win when Damian Lillard plays like he played? And again, he had 27 points, but he's 9 for 29. Can you win like that? Can you win just off of defense and playing good and playing hard? And that was a question. I don't know when you come up against tougher, higher echelon teams. And we saw that against Oklahoma City, where you're able to shut them down and Damian Lillard doesn't have a good game and you're able to win. But again, there are going to be nights where, and the difference there was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander did not play Damian Lillard, even though he had a bad game. Tonight, you have multiple Lakers guards having better games than Damian Lillard. And I think that, to me, is a lot of the difference. And then, again, we'll have more time. I don't have time to break it down right now. But the late game execution was just piss poor. There's no doubt about it. It was piss poor. And that, to me, starts with Doc Rivers. I thought Chris Middleton was incredibly selfish down the stretch, had some hero ball moments. There was a lot of one-on-one play with Dame and Khris. And, again, they just continued to miss shots. And then I looked at Giannis, and I thought he was just a guy that was an afterthought in the offense late in games. I know we say Dame runs the team. It's all about Dame. You cannot forget about the 2-time MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think they went away from it a little bit too much late in that game. And then they just didn't, again, it just didn't execute. You lost Austin Reaves on the 3-ball. He's shooting wide open. I mean, there was the alley-oop late in the game where, I thought Giannis was fouled. They didn't call it. And then just, again, I saw so many after timeouts where, to me, Doc Rivers does not put this team in a good situation when they call timeouts. And after timeouts, what sets they run and what they get into. Again, we've seen this, to me, from Jason Kidd, from Kidd, from Mike Budenholzer, from even Dr. Griffin. All three of the last Bucks coaches, all, to me, after timeouts, it was like almost guaranteed you're getting a bucket. Doc Rivers consistently, again, we're almost a 30-game sample size, has not provided that for the Milwaukee Bucks out of timeouts. Constantly, it's bad shots, guys going one-on-one. That's what I see, JT. What'd you see?
Man, you know what? Coming out the gate, I thought we were on track to go full on belt to ass tonight, right? And saw that first half, 58-42, and really, we technically defended the perimeter very well in that first half, right? The Lakers only had one 3-pointer made. They were 1 for 13 in that first half from three. And the only person to make a 3-pointer on that team was Taurean Prince. Having said that, right, we also had some strong performances. Again, I thought Bobby looked great that first half, right? 4 for 6, 12 points. Giannis was almost perfect, 8 for 10. So you saw a lot of guys. I thought you saw the team working. I really did think everybody was going to go full on belt to ass and we were going to have a big night, right? But that second half, you talked about Austin Reaves having, 24 in the second half. D'Angelo Russell had 25 because he had 4 points after that first half too. And he just has been that silent killer. Now, tonight, we were abysmal. I mean, shooting woes. You've talked about it. You went over the stat sheets. I mean, my goodness, this is one of our worst shooting nights, I'd say, since the All-Star break, by far. Just collectively, our stars. You look at the numbers and you look at just the inability to hit big-time shots. It wasn't it, right? There were some pretty plays, but, I mean, man, what was it? You said Dame, 3 for 14 from the line. Malik Beasley was 5 for 14. I mean, good grief, right? 8 for 18. That ain't great. Khris was 4 for 15, right? Giannis ended up being 14 for 25, but still, I mean, Giannis, I'm gonna leave that man alone. Bobby at 7 for 15. I mean, it just kind of fell apart here for the Bucks, right? So I'll make that point too. Another thing, right? We have 5 players in double figures. You got to take that. You got to anytime you get that, listen. That's definitely laudable. Guys are showing up. We're getting points on the board. What I tell you about the best defense is another made 3-pointer. Even though maybe we go away from that, but let me see your awful note here. And then the other thing, man, battle of the benches. Right, 13 points from the Lakers versus 26 from the Bucks, and it still just was not enough. I thought in that overtime, here's something I realized. You realize going into that second overtime, Damian Lillard with Anthony Davis blocked that shot. What happened the first time? We saw this play out the first time we played the Lakers, yes. And Damian Lillard went at a point, and what did Anthony Davis do?
Well, that was Spencer Dinwiddie.
I'm Spencer Dinwiddie. I'm sorry, yeah. Lakers big man. Yeah, but look, we saw this movie play out, so I was a little surprised that we did the same thing again. But I'm sure they probably weren't thinking about it. But that's an interesting observation. But yeah, just a very disappointing loss tonight. I thought we had a lot of chances for these guys to close this one out, and we just, like you said earlier, we just could not hit shots when we needed them. We couldn't do it. Wasn't there, and everybody's legs were shot in that second overtime. I'm still not clear on how exactly we lost Austin Reaves for him to hit that 3-pointer. I think that's a bit maddening. And yeah, we've got to tighten up in some areas.
I'm super disappointed they lost this game. I told the guys before we went on, I was like, we should already be on game balls right now with the way that this game went. Yeah, it was horrible. Just the execution down the stretch was the biggest part to me, but also not being able to capitalize off of turnovers, off of missed shots, getting out in transition, and then ultimately just turning it over or missing shots, and then the Lakers have it right back. I think that was a big part of why they were able to come back, why they were able to stick around in the first place, because we jumped out to such a big lead in the first quarter. They tried to chop it a little bit in that second quarter. We extended it again. But they just hung around that 20-point mark, and then that was it. Like, they came back, and as long as you don't get the lead up to like a 30s or 35, then, they're not going to quit. And it's the NBA. It's a make-or-miss league. So you weren't able to take advantage of some of the Lakers' mistakes. And I thought that's a disappointing thing because the defense looked good at points in this game. It did. And ultimately, it's just lazy transition offense when I think that's where the Bucks are their best, is capitalizing off of mistakes from the opposition. So that's the biggest disappointment I think I saw tonight. But as far as overtime and double OT goes, I thought Doc made some interesting decisions when it comes to subbing Brook out. I know he shot that wild shot, but he brought in Bobby Portis, and Bobby was fresh. He gave us some nice offensive rebounds, or he got good positioning down below the bucket, but he was missing layups. Like, he's missing layups in the double overtime, and you're like, all right, man, like that's the way to kind of set the tone, is to take a lead. Instead, it's stuck at like 119 for a couple minutes, and so nobody could score a basket. Malik Beasley hit some big shots in that first overtime, but then they got too Malik Beasley happy, and he got too happy to shoot those, and they were good looks. He just missed them, and so I think it was a big collective effort on why they lost this game. But my focus was towards obviously not being able to capitalize off of Lakers' mistakes, and it's just a shame that they blew this game to the Lakers twice in a row in the past couple of weeks, especially when you had so much momentum. Look, on this Bucks podcast, on this Bucks postgame show, Cream City Crossover, we kind of over-dramatized our reactions to the Thunder game, and I think it came back and bit us today because we thought we had the momentum. We had 5 straight in a row at home, or 6 straight in a row at home, and, that's a disappointing loss to ultimately drop it to the Lakers.
There's no question it was a disappointing loss. And so the people in the chat are saying that, that Damian Lillard is a scapegoat. Listen, hold on. This is why I call bullshit, because and I call it because, again, I just talked about Doc Rivers. Like, what are you get that through? Are you listening? Are you listening? No, I just talked about Doc Rivers. But again, I can't ignore. You want me to ignore the fact that Dame missed 50 million shots? I can't. I'm sorry. He shot 3 of 14 from 3. You want me to? I can't ignore. I mean, he shot 20% from 3. I can't ignore that. Like that. Like, that's not good. But there's nothing wrong with pointing that out. That he shot 21% from 3 and 31% from the field. Do you think that's good? And hold on, he shot 31% in the field, and he took the most shots on the team. So you can't. So again, this is my only problem with and I don't even want to go in on Dame. But my problem when people do that is, first, the issue was, well, he doesn't have the ball enough. They don't give him the ball. He stands in the corner. Now Doc Rivers comes in, and he inserts him, and they're running pick and rolls all day long. So they run pick and roll. He gets the ball all the time. He shoots as much as he wants. Now he shoots as much as he wants. And now, well, they're just blaming. No, at some point, you got to score the basketball. Like, that's all I'm saying. Yes, I'm not, again, throughout the entire game, Damian Lillard, I don't want to say, and maybe I'm going a little too far, saying he shot the Bucks out of the game, but they were up multiple times, 10, 12, 8, 9, 13, 12. And some of those baskets or some of those shots that he took were, I don't want to say they're bad shots, he can hit them, but he missed a lot of those shots. And the Lakers came back down, and D'Lo was cooking, and Austin Reaves was cooking. And again, I'm just trying to find the lie. That's all I'm saying. Find the lie. He got outplayed by 2 of LA's guards, and he's supposed to be the top 75 player he was. Again, I mentioned too, Anthony Davis outplayed Giannis. Now, again, it just wasn't to the level. It just wasn't to the level that Austin Reaves and D'Angelo Russell outplayed Damian Lillard. Like, that's a fact. I don't know how to. It's just a fact. But I'm not blaming him for the Bucks losing, though. I'm just saying that was a heavy contributor to it. And again, you talked about it, Khris. That second OT. I mean, the Bucks and the Lakers both, they went scoreless for like long. Or was that the first one or the second one? I can't remember. They went scoreless for like 3 minutes of it. Like, it was bad. Both teams looked gassed. And again, but it goes back to the other point of everybody going, it's Dame's team late in the game. We got to get the ball, Dame. And I think that's what kind of happened. I think the ball somehow ended up in Malik Beasley shooting a lot as well. But for whatever reason, the ball didn't go to Giannis on too many occasions. I mean, you can't go 2 minutes of not scoring and 8, 9, 10 possessions of Giannis not touching the basketball. That just can't happen in a late game. I don't care if you're calling it Dame's team or whatever you're doing. When you're not able to score, you've got to dump down and give Giannis touches. There's no way around it.
I would agree with that. I would 100% agree with that. And to be fair, right, Dame showed up. I remember he got was fouled in that last minute and he got fouled on a 3 and had 3 free throw attempts, right? Like, so he did that, towards the end of regulation there. But I just feel like Dame going 9 for 29. How do you spin that, right? Like, how exactly do you spin that as besides awful? And I don't understand that, Trey. If you're getting flagged for that right now, somebody help me understand how that math, supports an argument against what you're saying, right? And I'm not saying that Dame is the scapegoat here, right? But I will say that Look, that shot that was blocked by Anthony Davis in the second overtime, right? At the end of the first overtime, that's a material issue, right? Like you can't deny that. And I agree with you. The fact that Giannis doesn't touch the rock, how does Giannis not touch the rock? I don't understand. Was he just not the focal point? Was he wall art out there? I really don't get it, right? But again, what's maddening about this loss is there were so many opportunities for the Bucks to win this game, right? Like it really was not over until Austin Reaves hit that three.
Well, you go back to the other point where, somebody mentioned as well, Dame hit the three in the corner, right, to put the Bucks up 2. You need one stop. Jay Crowder, and this great. Jay Crowder's in the game, and he's locking up. I think it was D'Angelo. I think it was D'Angelo Russell, or was it? It was D'Lo. He's locking up D'Lo, and Khris Middleton for no reason at all. You're up 2, and Khris Middleton for no reason reaches in and slaps down his hand. Jay Crowder's in, perfect position, and you have an opportunity to make. You got to make D'Angelo Russell hit a tough contested shot. You have to make him hit. Or I don't know. Was that after the 3, or was that after? No. Or was that after he got fouled?
That was Dame 3 free throws, and then we're up 2.
That was after the Dame 3 free throws. Okay. So yeah, so he had those moments as well. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying Dame didn't have some good moments. I'm just saying the majority of overtimes and the majority of the fourth and the majority of the game, Damian Lillard was not good offensively. But those things happen, I guess. But it was just disappointing. And you're right, JT. The Bucks had plenty of opportunities and chances. They didn't capitalize. And so we'll get to some more to chat. But before we do that, I want to ask you guys, like, who are you putting? So since people are talking about it, who are you putting your blame on for this collapse? Is it the whole team as a collective? Should more blame go to Doc Rivers? And again, I've seen there's a lot of comments that are out there where people are going, well, you can't blame Doc for the players not shooting the ball well. And to that, I said, okay. But to me, this is my only retort to that. I don't even disagree. But my only comeback is you can't fire your coach in the middle of the season, and then Doc Rivers comes in and you're I said it on Twitter. I said the Bucks are 500, and people are like, you can't put that. It's a fact. The man's like 4. I think he's 14-13. That is his record. He's a 500 coach right now since he's come back. And we're not talking about 5 games, 6 games. We're talking about we're 30 games in now of Doc Rivers coaching a basketball team. And they're like, you are what your record says you are. The Milwaukee Bucks, since Doc Rivers has taken over, the defense has gotten better. Certain aspects of this basketball team have gotten better, but they're a 500 basketball team. That is what it is. So I guess my question, who are you blaming for this loss the most? And I'm a host. So you can't give me a cop-out answer. I'm not going to let you play politics here. Neither one of you. Give me an answer, one guy, and why you're giving him the majority of the blame for this loss. Yeah, because I know you guys will play politics on me, and well, it's this guy and that guy. One guy, give me one guy.
Go ahead, JT, take it.
Damn. Hey, it's a really tough one, right? Because I do think you could split it. You go a couple different ways. I mean, I think the easiest answer, right, that doesn't take a ton of analysis, will say, maybe we give it to Doc because in the second overtime, again, Giannis not touching the right. Nobody's scoring in 3 minutes, going through a stretch like that where everybody's just out there looking gas, right? Like they're looking like, nobody wants to go home from the YMCA, right? Everybody's just going to keep playing until they fall out. How do you not run that offense through Giannis? How do you not, call timeout, do something to kind of get guys, make that a focal point? You let your team literally, march for the I guess the bulk of the second overtime, and not feed your star, not feed your triple dub, your triple double star here. Which, by the way, Giannis has 21 rebounds tonight. I think is that season high.
Probably something like that. Maybe.
I think that's right. Giannis had 21 rebounds tonight. Is that a season high?
I think that is. And for the record, Giannis also had. I mean, because people talking about this too. Giannis had 7 turnovers. Like I'm not. And I think and to that point, I think it was the fourth quarter where Giannis had like 3 turnovers. I know he had 2 back to back, and then he had another one right after that. And I think one was a charge. One I think he dribbled off his foot out of bounds, and then he had one where he I think he was driving to the basket trying to kick out for a 3. Crazy is he had Malik Beasley short ball side corner, and he went to kick out to whoever's on the weak side corner for the 3 and just totally missed the pass and went out of bounds. But But okay, so you're giving it to Doc Rivers.
I mean, but there's so much, right? I could give it to Khris. What the hell was that?
I know you could.
Right?
I know you could. The question was who's taking the majority of the blame? You're saying Doc Rivers. The majority. Yes, I'm not even disagreeing. I'll qualify it. Yes,
right, I'm gonna give you.
Okay. But who?
I'll give you. I'm gonna go Doc because I know one of y'all is gonna go Dame. So I'll go Doc. Even though I kind of want to go Khris because what the hell was that? But okay, I'm gonna go Doc.
So I think Trey got it right. I'm giving it to Giannis. I think as the superstar, you should demand the ball. He was walking up the court. He might have been tired, but that's no excuse. Look, you just can't miss those free throws down the stretch. You have to at least give me one so AD's free throws on the other end don't put it away. So I think that was a big part of it, right? You just missed 2 free throws, and then that ultimately ends the game if they make 2 free throws the opposite way. So the turnovers, just not being able to take command of this team down the stretch. I think you've got to be better with just making sure the ball is in your hands. Look, I think I can speak for everybody with us going out on our sleeve with Giannis getting the ball in both overtimes for the majority of the part. But where you mess up is now you're driving and you're throwing it to Malik Beasley, and then you take 2 minutes off, you don't even touch the ball, then you go work the 2-man with Dame, but it seems like you didn't want the ball because you're passing it back to him. You really only scored off of 1 pick and roll with him. So yeah, I'll go with Giannis. I'll give the people what they want, and that's honestly what I saw. I just think that he could have been more aggressive defensively and offensively. I think he was just kind of out there to me.
Yeah, I actually agree with, and I don't disagree with that, Khris. But I think if I had to give who I want to give the majority of the blame to, I go Doc Rivers. And again, this is why, and I've tried so hard, and I think we all have kind of drank some of the Doc Rivers Kool-Aid and the juice. Hey, Doc, this we roll with this basketball team. We asked the question. We think this team is ready for the playoffs, and we're like, yeah, they're ready for the play. We're ready. And then it's these type of losses that make you sit back and go, maybe they're not. Maybe they're not just quite there. And it's these losses where that was my point and it's crazy that this happens. Where I go, I think Khris and Giannis should be playing. I think Khris, Giannis, and Dame, I think they should be playing together. I don't think we should be resting. I think guys need to play. Well, Giannis can take a break if he needs to. I said, listen, I'm not saying he can't. My whole thing is on this. I'll ask you guys that late game execution. Did those are like 3 guys, Giannis, Dame, and Khris? Did they look like they were all together and in one accord and communication great? No. And so and now it looked good when it was just Giannis and Dame, and it seemed like everybody had everything worked out. But how many hero ball possessions did we see from Khris Middleton? We saw, I saw a ton late in that game. Where it was like, did Doc? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe in the press conference after the game, whether or not Doc called some of that stuff for Khris, or Khris was just taking it on his own, thought he had a good shot and made his own look. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I guess, like I said, so if I were to assign blame, even though guys missed shots, and I think some guys individually did not play up to their standards. When you fire your coach in the middle of a season, the next guy that comes in you have to show a marketable improvement to me. And you can say in some areas you've seen that, because defensively, yes, I think I've seen an improvement in this basketball team. Offensively, when we say moving with a purpose, I would say yes, the Bucks move the ball and play with more of a purpose for more of the game. However, late game execution, and that's where a lot of these games are decided in the playoffs, especially. No, the Milwaukee Bucks were a better offensive team. They just were earlier in the season than they have been with Doc Rivers. And I almost say that almost offensively and defense. Remember, this was a top 5 clutch team. Everybody's rolling out all the stats. The Bucks defense top 10 since Doc Rivers. Tell me, I don't know. Somebody let me know if you know it in the comments. Let me know. I wonder what the Bucks are in the clutch since Doc Rivers has taken over. I would bet you it's not top 5 offense and defense. I would be willing to bet that.
Because I think the Bucks NBA, their offensive rating right now is 3rd, but that takes into account the entire season. That's not a Southern. So I agree with you. Post All-Star break, I'd like to see those numbers. We talked about this before. this is really where you earn your paycheck with this Bucks team. It's not the blowouts. It's not here. You have enough talent here to where this team is going to blow guys out. This team is really going to win. They're just going to they're going to win the majority of the time. You saw that with Dr. Griffin in 31-13. Why you brought Doc in, and I agree with you, Trey. Late game execution, but then also situational basketball, right? Being able to have that sharp basketball mind that's won over 1,000 games that can go ahead and coach this team and help this team win, right? Help this team in tough spots, right? Win games tonight, like a double overtime, dog fight against the Lakers here when you had plenty of opportunity. That's why you have that mind there, right? Because you felt like Dr. Griffin, he could jump in a Ferrari and win a bunch of races, right? But you're not gonna win the Formula One when everybody got a Ferrari. Now what you gonna do, right? There's a little bit more strategy, right? Or what's the joint? What's one man Michael Schumacher drive? God. Anyway, on the drag strip, man, that's not Formula One. What is that? You know what I'm talking about? They run that 400 on the little. Okay, man. All right.
It's not like something else on ESPNU. You talking about them late night ESPNU drag races?
Get you the little races, right? But my point though is that like any coaching this team is driving a Ferrari, right?
Sure,
they're driving that Lamborghini. So think about how many races you're going to win, especially when some of these teams are equivalent to a Honda Civic, right? You're going to blow most of these. You're going to blow out some guys. You're going to win the bulk of your games, and that's what Dr. Griffin was doing, right? But Doc, I mean, we just expect more from him because this is basketball mind, and I agree, because of the midseason change. And to lose a heartbreaker like this, let me take a step back. To lose the first one, right? To lose the first one to the Lakers, right? Not exactly the same way, but kind of in the same manner. It just was and then to have it again, right? And let's be honest, we're not seeing the Lakers. They're not a competitive team in the West. Most of the time,
they're not good. That's what. Yeah, no, they're not even good.
Yeah. Not to mention, they didn't have that. They didn't have King James, right? Not to mention, they didn't have LeBron James. I mean,
I think a big part for me too is we talk all the time about the defense and what makes this defense so special ever since Doc took over, and then all of a sudden, you still have those same lapses that we've been seeing since Adrian Griffin was in-house. Like having those lapses where Austin Reaves gets open. What are you laughing at, Trey?
I don't know. Somebody.
He's always
somebody got something.
Do you have a sport coat on? Is that a robe?
No, this is Louis V, dog. Come on now, stop stepping. Chill. No, but all right.
That a robe?
No, it's a jacket, a sport coat, something like that.
You got a sport coat on.
I thought so.
So you laughing at Chris's sport coat?
No, I'm not laughing. I know I'm saying. I just didn't know I know he dressed up for the occasion. Okay, that's I thought it was.
What he got on? What you got on? What you got? A t-shirt on underneath? What you got?
You got a black tee. This is a black tee.
There you go.
That's the
Jameson on deck.
Yeah, I do have the Jameson as well. Look,
I think he's stepping up tonight.
Yeah, and if it's,
you got something coming through.
I realize, I don't know, but I realize that there is a big percentage of a female fan base with the Milwaukee Bucks, and we haven't necessarily tapped into that bag yet. So I'm trying to spice it up. You guys are obviously two married men, so I have to take the reins here.
What
I mean? Hey, he going what one man Hugh Hefner, what's it called, like a smoking jacket or whatever, a cigar jacket, right? Khris got the new version of that, right? He got the new version of that. It's a Jameson jacket, man. Those large ice cubes in the cup. Don't sip, just go. Yeah, I got you.
So my point was though, we still
wild.
Oh, no,
don't sip, just gulp is wild. Hey, yo, go ahead.
All right, so my point was that we
Sorry.
have ultimately reverted back to the same defensive lapses that we experienced when Coach AG was in the building. And it's just tough because you ask for consistency from this defense, you ask for consistency from this team, and ultimately it's just not there. And you want it to be there with just 10 games left now in the regular season because it can come back and bite you in the playoffs. So I'm hoping we can kind of figure that out with the defensive lapses, because it seems like goers just do their thing after we lock down 5 teams in a row, stuff like that. So that's another concern in terms of coaching, I think.
Yeah, no, 100%. Coaching to me is a concern with this basketball team. And again, we talk about it. What we talk about, Doc Rivers blowing late game, blowing late series leads 3-1. Well, and tonight you blow a 19-point lead to a Lakers basketball team. This game should have been won. There's no question about it. This game should have been won. And the Lakers are not a very good basketball team. No LeBron James. You got to win it. You end up losing 128, 124. And the crazy thing was, I had so much confidence in this team late in the game. like a lot of games, I get on the edge of my seat and kind of, okay, how we going to do it? But this team so far has just shown me that they're going to win a lot of these late game situations. And ever since Doc Rivers taken over, it just has not felt like that, because I used to feel like every time the Bucks had the ball, they were going to score. Remember, JT, we talked about it all year long. When the Bucks have the ball, they're going to score. You better score every time, because the Bucks are going to score. Period. And that has not happened since Doc Rivers has taken over, and it didn't happen tonight. It just didn't. Let's go to some of the comments. We've been cooking with some gas right now. Let's go to some of the comments. Young City says this game shouldn't even went to overtime. D. Cole says total team loss. Giannis had timely turnovers. Some shots were off, and K-Mid was nowhere to be found in the second half and in overtime. Robert Henry says, sadly, we lost it in the fourth quarter. I felt Middleton missed bad shots down the stretch. Bobby needed to be in over him. Well, Bobby came in and he missed shots too. Giannis had costly turnovers and wasn't sharp down the stretch. Sad, Lakers swept the Bucks. Jay Wan says, Bucks don't overreact. We were gassed. That's not an excuse to me. I hear you, but that's not an excuse to me that the Bucks were gassed. Everybody's gassed. Everybody played a lot of the game. Jay Wan also says Beasley was wide open on 90% of his shots. Dame took a lot of end of the shot clock shots, but again, that's Damian Lillard. That's what he does. Let's keep rolling here. Niram Ganem says, damn, y'all so biased. How in the world is this Dame's fault? Let's call spade a spade. Okay. Keep going. A lot of comments. We can't get to them all here. Let's see. Green Ranger says, most of the blame, I think, goes to Giannis. That's just crazy to me. I go into every game expecting Giannis to be the best player on the court. He was not the best player on the court. Call it unfair, but heavy wears the crown. So that's a good point from Green Ranger. Going in expecting Giannis to be the best player on the court, and tonight again, you could argue that Anthony Davis is the best player on the court. But here's where I almost go. There's a yes and a no to that, because for 48 minutes, basically, Giannis was the best player on the court for basically all of regulation. Like for the majority of the game, Giannis was the best player on the floor. Late in the game, some other guys started to play better than him. So I don't disagree with that. But here's the thing. If our players, if Damian Lillard, Khris Middleton, those two guys in particular, play any bit better at all, you don't have to go to the late game execution. So it was almost like the other guys on the team dragged Giannis down so much that he wasn't able to hang on. Now, again, do you fault him for not rising to the occasion and being better than Anthony Davis late in the game? Yeah, I'm not saying that you don't, but it should have never got to that. And Giannis didn't, in my opinion, contribute as heavily to the game going to overtime as those other two guys did, if you want to go look at the big three. But yes, in some ways I do agree. Yeah, we expect Giannis to be the best player on the floor, and especially in overtime 1, overtime 2, down the stretch in these games, Giannis was not the best player for every single second on the court. I agree with that.
I'm gonna make this point because you talked about this earlier too, and you said that Giannis should have demanded the ball the first 3 minutes of that second overtime, right? And you talked about that, and you guys have said that being a superstar, that's something that he should have done, and you kind of said that, kind of alluded to that. But I would also argue that the team should also know, hey, our horse got to touch this ball. Our horse got to touch this ball. We can't just get out here and throw up crazy shots here. Our horse got to touch this ball.
But who does that go back to, John?
Well, of course that goes back. So you can blame Doc for that, right? You can blame Doc for not saying that. But, okay, yes, that's on Doc because he should never let that happen. But that also has to go on the shoulders of the guards too, because they're not thinking. Y'all not thinking out here. Y'all are playing low IQ basketball by just throwing up shots. Like, give it to your man that's been cooking all night. What we doing here?
Well, I also think, Giannis has to kind of take control of the team and demand for it. Like, I think that he definitely had instances where he could have gave more effort on the offensive side. He's walking up the court because he's tired. I get it, but they are too. They played just the same exact amount of minutes as you did, your matchup did in Anthony Davis. He shot the ball well, 14 and 25, but I guess he could have taken more. I think that would have at least gave us some more opportunities. And they're talking about how the Lakers got to the line more. I think that is a product of Giannis, not being able to take control of this offense and not at least forcing the officials' hands. He didn't get a good whistle tonight, but I think he could have at least put that in their hands instead of just throwing it to Malik Beasley every time in the second OT because he hit a couple threes.
Yeah, I didn't like the whistle tonight either. I thought a couple of those, especially when you're calling the touch on Dame for a three, calling that a foul. You're calling the touch on Austin Reaves when he took his jump shot a foul, and there was just nothing on Giannis. Clearly held and pushed on the alley-oop attempt late in the game. He got there was one in OT where AD just battered him a couple times. No call there. I think Bobby finished up with the layup or something like that. But yeah, I thought that was I thought Giannis did get the rough end of the stick on the whistle, but that's that's the Laker tax, right?
Yeah.
Playing the Lakers, you're going to get some of that.
They don't want to end the game on a foul for the alley-oop. That's just not what they want to do, and give him the free throws with practically no time left. So, yeah, I guess, he didn't get a good whistle, and I guess that's what comes with it. They're not going to gift the Bucks a win over the Lakers for that last possession. But also, just being 1 of 7, I believe it was, from the free throw line, that's got to tighten up a little bit. That's piss poor. And we've seen Giannis rise to the occasion this season, knocking down the free throws that he needs to kind of ice games and put games away. And he had the opportunity to at least keep him in it, and he just didn't do it.
Yeah, Jay Wan says AD hit 2 free throws that Giannis didn't. That was the only difference. Karan Jammer Kenner says that basically AD was 12 of 31. No way he outplayed Giannis. I hear you, but I'm there. And again, I agree with you, except for in the late game, in the late stretch moments of this basketball game. Again, AD missed a ton of shots, but in the late in the third quarter and going to that fourth, how many threes did AD hit? What was AD? Let me look. What was AD from 3? He had to hit at least 3 threes, and they had to all come, I think, in the second half. Anthony Davis ended up. Well, he was 3 of 8 from 3, and I think all 3 of them. They were
because remember the Lakers only made 1 3-pointer in that first half, right? And they finished the game with 15 made. So all of those were in the second half and overtime. And the thing that's interesting is, they actually finished the game making 1 less 3-pointer than us, right? I'm sorry, they finished the game making 14. We finished the game making 15. So we were 15 for 51. They were 14 for 44, right? One number is awful. One number is terrible.
And then there was, you just said they were gas. There was one point where Giannis makes a layup down the stretch. I think it was first or second overtime, and how in overtime on a made basket, boom, you right back down the court and they get a layup back down. I can't remember who. No, it was Spencer Dinwiddie raced him back down the floor and got fouled for 2 shots because nobody's back playing defense. Like, it was the little things like that that hurt the Bucks. I do want to answer this from Titonia World, asking how many minutes should Khris play. And again, tonight it was bad, but again, Khris just came off a triple-double, Titonia. Khris didn't play well tonight. He played 38 minutes. Again, he's just got to settle down to me. I think Khris is a lot of the answer for the Bucks, but he's got to settle down just a little bit there. Let's go to some of the Twitter comments as well. Frank Madden says you can always find the most emotionally unstable Bucks fans by checking checking Trey and Sparky's retweets during their respective postgame shows. Losses suck, especially one like tonight, but they don't need to trigger an existential crisis. Go for a walk or something. So I think some people there were some interesting replies, and let's talk about a couple of them here if I can. Now, of course, I can't. I'm having some trouble trying to find them. Okay, here we go. At NYC Randy says, I can't keep defending this effing team. Giannis every single time in the clutch starts shaking and it throws off his entire game. I've been praying for Dame all fucking year, and every game we need him, he goes out and the performance just gets worse. The more important the game. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that was some of it. At _Sleaza says, light their ass up, TC. This shit was uncalled for. Limited experience in clutch situations. Together for the big 3, though, I'll give them that. At Drew Behringer says, Dame and Khris are the main reasons the Bucks lost. Losing twice to a LeBron-less Lakers team because you can't stop D'Angelo Russell or Austin Reaves is embarrassing. Our guy, Justin from NC, says it's a joke. This BS is laughable. LeBron dancing on the sideline, running the half court and jumping. The disrespect Giannis gets. He was fouled 36 times in the fourth and both overtimes. NBA took this after the Bucks choked it away. Absolute garbage. You know, I love my guy Justin Vinci. And I get it. I think he was fouled some. I just can't. I can't go to the officiating for this. That's my only thing. David Dunn, 21. That's also telling you, world. Says we blew consecutive 14-point fourth quarter leads against the Heat, and Middleton was MIA. What else is new? And what else is new? You're talking about Khris Middleton. Not surprised. Read a couple more of these, and maybe we'll come back to it later. At AZip70 says just an absolute disgusting choke job to blow a 19-point fourth quarter lead. Doc coached an abysmal game. And then one more here at Sebastian at Sabaz Vasco _ MKE says that was one of the worst late game executions I've ever watched. This one was on par with games 4 and 5 in Miami. And then a lot of Boston fans, because I did tweet out the other night after Boston blew a fourth quarter, a 30-point lead, I tweeted out, Boston keeps showing you who they are, believe them. And so a lot of comments are Boston fans who have tweeted, Milwaukee keeps showing you who they are, believe them. So that's and I don't have a response to like they're not wrong.
Hey,
they're not wrong.
You gotta appreciate petty fans, right? Because we're gonna keep that same energy, so it's okay. We're gonna keep that same energy when Boston does something ugly.
Yeah. MK Sports in the chat says I'm a Lakers fan, but seeing them losing to this team without LeBron twice. And Duh 11 King says, mark my words, that Beasley and Dame backcourt will come back to bite us in the playoffs. So I guess we'll keep going with this before we get to the game ball situation scenarios and whatnot. But I go because we had this conversation before. I want to keep just kind of stay on it. Like with this Milwaukee Bucks team, again, we keep saying, hey, we can see them in the finals. Is this one game? I don't want to say bad enough for you to second guess what you think about this basketball team, but does a night like tonight, does this give you pause when you watch the Milwaukee Bucks? Or are you saying, so I guess that's my question. How are you taking this? Is it 1 out of 82, 19-point loss? I'm good. Don't really care. We keep moving on. We'll see what happens. I think the Bucks have I can't remember who I think they play Memphis next or whoever they got next. We're fine.
No, New Orleans.
Oh, New Orleans next. Ooh.
They play New Orleans next on Thursday.
Ooh.
Thursday. Yep.
Okay. So that's gonna be a good one to talk about on Thursday night. But do you just move to Thursday, or is this loss a sticking point for you, especially at home?
No. Look. Here's the thing, right? The reality of it is peaks and valleys with this Bucks team. We just went belt to ass against the Thunder team, right? We had an MVP candidate looking inept, right? And then we had an MVP candidate looking inept. We had a Rookie of the Year candidate looking inept. We had the number one team in the West just looking like they just looking inept, right? That's the word of the night. Wow, three straight times to describe something, right? But having said that, y'all good, man?
Are you good?
But
lost in your own thoughts, JT.
Right. Hey, man, it's getting late.
It's getting late.
Work all day. Right? But on the same note, right? Like that was a win. That was an inspiring win. We've seen this Bucks team show up. We've seen this Bucks team execute. We've seen this team do a lot better, right? And tonight stunk. By any objective measure, tonight stunk, right? Pure ass gas. It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. But, at the end of the day, this Bucks team, there were so many things that this team did awful tonight, right? From just shooting, right? Basics. And to be in it that late and still have a chance to win. Now, I get that LeBron wasn't there, and I understand that, right? And despite the fact that these guys just did straight cardio for 3 minutes of the second overtime, you got to put it in perspective. This was a winnable game. This is a game we should win, right? But does it undo everything that we've seen over the last couple of weeks? No, it certainly doesn't, right? Does it give you pause that D'Angelo Russell has found a way to give us absolute work and cook us, and he is a buck slayer? I mean, okay, right? But generally speaking, we don't have to worry about him to the finals, if anything, in the playoffs. So we know they're not going to make it. So I'm not really that worried about it. What I will say, though, is that you have made this point. Khris, Giannis, and Dame need to play together. They 100% have to play together. And tonight, you did see them in late game situations where they just did look out of sorts. And that's what you've been harping on this all year. And I got to tell you, I do think that needs to happen. So I know these last few games, you talk about maybe starting to rest players, but those three need to play. They need to figure this out because they got tested tonight and they by any objective measure failed.
I think this is another political answer that I'm going to have to go with, and I'm going to say yes and no. And the no is because we didn't have Pat Bev, and you think that this changes the game a little bit. Just not allowing these things to happen, these defensive lapses, I would think that he would at least be able to run the second unit a little bit better than it was tonight in the second quarter. I'm not going to say, like, Pat Bev is the sole reason we lost this game and not having him, but I am willing to say, like, we really missed him tonight, and I do believe that he's the reason you brought in – that's the only guy you brought in pretty much at the trade deadline, I believe. And so, you know, if you have him in the lineup, he's a smart point guard who can actually defend. And that's the reason why we kind of lost against the Lakers the first time is we didn't have him out there, and D'Angelo Russell was able to hit the game winner or whatever that was. So I am willing to take a step back and just be like, look, you know, Patrick Beverley would have helped. Where I am concerned about this is, like, we haven't had that much experience with Khris, Dame, and Giannis in the lineup in general, but also in the clutch. And so the late game execution, when you talk about how everybody was playing hero ball and nobody really knew it, that's a problem for me. That's a concern. It might not bite you in the first or second round, but if you get to those moments in the playoffs where the pressure is on and you need to steal a game, and this one was at home too, but if you get down to those pressure moments and you guys are still looking like a chicken with its head cut off and you don't know who to get the ball to because nobody's able to heat up, well, that's a problem, and that's something you need to get better at. So, you know, it's not something in the regular season that you necessarily are too concerned with. But, you know, when you get to the playoffs and they haven't had that much experience together in late games, and this is their first season together, and they haven't played that much games together, that is my concern.
Yeah, no, I think, you know, in some ways, in a lot of ways, yeah, I think it is pausing and concerning to think about because what do we know about this basketball team? Well, and I'll just rattle you off, and I'll just look at some of the other teams in the Eastern Conference because I know, JT, you mentioned it. Well, you don't have to worry about the LA Lakers, and that's what I'm saying is I'm not talking about necessarily as a loss, thinking about it from a Lakers, you know, specific question. But this loss happens to anybody when you're not playing the way you should play, playing with defensive intensity for throughout an entire course of a game, and executing offensively late in the game. It doesn't matter. You playing Lakers, playing the Cavs, playing the Knicks, doesn't matter. So, but look at this on the road. Boston's 25-12, Cleveland's 21-14, New York's 19-15, Indiana's 20-17. Miami's 21-16. Even the Philadelphia 76ers are 18-18. The Bucks on the road are 17-18. So they're not a very good road basketball team. So in the playoffs, when you're getting into the 7-game series, you're only getting one. If you're starting off as the home team, you're only going to get one game to lose, and home court flips. And the Bucks have not shown that they can win on the road. And if you're telling me that now a home game where you're up 19 and you can't find a way to close that out, those are the concerning losses to me because again, until you show me that you can beat teams on the road consistently, I'm not looking for a ton of road wins. Like I said, that does concern me. My thing is, you know, especially if you get a series against Boston, can you win one on the road? Can you go take one somewhere on the road? I think maybe you can in each series, maybe get one potentially, but yeah, you're not some great road team. You've got to finish off these kind of games at home. And again, Doc Rivers is a 500 coach. I don't care how you want to put it. I'm not saying it's all his fault that they're 500. I know that they started off. That was a tough sip you just took. I know that they started off. I know that they started off on a 5-game road trip with Doc Rivers, and that contributed to, you know, some. And they started off, I think, playing Denver, and it was a rough West Coast trip. But these are the wins you got to have. And again, there have been some embarrassing losses. They've lost to Memphis. The game they lost to Utah was terrible. This one was bad. The other one against the Lakers, like I can go down a laundry list of Bucks losses they've had with Doc Rivers, the games that they should have won that they lost, and say no, this is concerning. So I guess that's the only place I am when I look at that. Daniel Harris says, I guess we're talking about moving some of the younger players in the chat. and the intensity. So again, just a rough loss tonight, but it was a 128 to 124 loss. Lakers beat the Milwaukee Bucks. Who are you giving out game balls to? Or anything else you get? Or are we ready to go to game balls?
Let's go to game ball. Or go ahead, Khris.
Yeah. When I just see that everybody's talking about, that contract on Brook looks crazy right now, and when you're looking at this draft, it's very concerning about who's the replacement of Brook, right? Like,
I know it ain't Zach Edey.
I know damn well it's not Zach Edey.
I know that.
I know damn well it's not Zach Edey. But yeah, the draft isn't stocked enough to me to where you can kind of get a real replacement for Brook. So you're gonna have to go find somebody if that is an option. But yeah, I just had to make a comment on that because you're not gonna find it in the draft. That's all I gotta say.
And and to your point, I don't think you can. I mean, now you can get somebody and
develop
start to groom,
but they don't do that.
The Bucks don't develop. And again, I'm looking at a guy, and I got to do a shout out here. Your boy John Horst drafted Dante DiVincenzo, and DiVincenzo threw up 40. We're gonna see what he does in the playoffs. I have a sneaky feeling he's not gonna do what he's doing right now in the playoffs, but he put up 40 last night, right? Like, he's going crazy. He had 11 threes the other night. Like, Dante DiVincenzo's playing some great basketball. And again, I'm not saying the Bucks could have kept him because it's taken a while for him to develop, but it's just showing you, let these guys play a little bit, develop them, and if they get in the right situation, I think there are a number of those guys that can play. Now, has he missed on a few guys? Yes, I'm not saying he hasn't, but there are some guys but if that's the Dante DiVincenzo you're getting, that's a guy that you hit on in the draft, and he's no longer a part of your program. But again, I just had to throw that out there.
I'll make a video when the offseason starts. I'll make a video on some prospects that you could realistically get, because there are 2 picks, right, I believe, in this NBA draft for the Milwaukee Bucks, and you've got to look at that 4 or 5 spot. But I'll do that for the Bucks fans. We'll do that in the offseason.
Well, what does it matter if Doc is going to be redshirting them anyway?
Well, yeah,
that's my issue, right?
But I still think Brook has it in him. It's not like this is Brook's last year. You know what I mean?
Man, like I said, I'll just say this, and I said this, and this is why we'll talk about the Jrue Holiday stuff. But I said this during the Miami series once it ended. If you don't win, somebody from the core's got to go, and it ended up being Jrue Holiday. I'll say this again going through this series. If you flame out in the playoffs, it depends on how it goes, but if you flame out in the playoffs, somebody from the core's got to go. And again, that core of Giannis, Dame, Khris, and Brook, it's not going to be Dame, it's not going to be Giannis. So Khris or Brook or both, if the Bucks flame out, somebody's got to be gone. And then somebody, Nikanzo Mizubuko says, I say we done with Lopez. I say we done with the 90s. We done with Lopez. So anyway, sorry. These are the game balls. We all got game balls.
You know what? I'm a stand on it, right? And I'm not gonna give an Austin Reaves game ball because I'm petty. I'm not. He not getting my game ball. Even though man had a triple double tonight, 29, 14, and 10. Nope, not gonna happen. Not getting it from me. Tonight my game ball is gonna go to y'all. You guessed it, Giannis. He had that triple double, right? He didn't show up. He didn't show up the way we wanted him to late, right? But you can't say that man didn't do everything he could to try to get him there, right? He did. Now, and I'm not going to put the blame fully on him for not touching the ball in the second overtime for the first 3 minutes. I still feel like as players, they got to be smart enough to know, hey, feed that man. He should have to come. Why he got to knock on the door and ask you for some food? Man, y'all better drop that plate off. What y'all doing? Nah, man. Come on, man. Nah,
my game ball goes.
Got a room full of game balls.
Yeah, he definitely does. I'll go with Anthony Davis. As much as it pains me to say, I'll give it to him. Look, he played well, and I thought he was dead to rights at the end. I think it was the third quarter, I believe, where Giannis hit that buzzer beater layup off the offensive rebound or whatever that was, and Anthony Davis looked shot, and Giannis did his thing, dominating the first 3 quarters of this game. But he stuck with it. He got that jumper to fall. He made those 2 clutch free throws at the end. I'll give it to Anthony Davis. Normally, this is a matchup that Giannis dominates, and it didn't happen tonight.
Bucks got outscored 27-13 in the fourth quarter. I just cannot Just cannot happen. My game ball tonight. I'm gonna give out 2 game balls, co-game balls, everyone do it. 2-1, Austin Reaves, 29, 14, and 10. I thought he was just great down the stretch for this basketball team for LA. And then I'm gonna give it to Anthony Davis as well. 34, 23. 4 blocks, 2 steals. And again, that's where we talk about who is really good and how and why Anthony Davis played so well. It wasn't just offense. I know you talked about it being 12 or 30. Somebody talked about it being 12 or 31. He didn't outplay Giannis, but the 4 blocks were impressive. He had one on Dame late in the game. I think he had one on Giannis too. And so again, just an impressive night from Anthony Davis, who gutted through. You know, he was walking around limping. I thought he was gonna give himself an excuse there if they lost the game late. But a gritty win for the LA Lakers, who were said they're destined for this play-in tournament, and you know that was one of the games where they won. I know a lot of times people talk about the Bucks being better when Giannis doesn't play, and sometimes the ball moves. So again, it's just hard. Like the ball moves differently when LeBron is not in the game, and so I don't know. I know LeBron hasn't played Giannis in 2 years. I don't know that this game ends this way if LeBron is playing tonight, because a lot of those possessions they got to Austin Reaves. The ball would have, or I think even Rui Hachimura, who has 16 and 14, he wouldn't have played 40 minutes tonight. And I thought he was really, really good. But LeBron, the ball just sticks with him a little bit. He takes some ill-advised shots, some ill-advised threes. The ball, this game may turn out different, but again, the Bucks got to be able to beat teams who play any kind of different style. And tonight, not being able to stop D'Angelo Russell, not being able to stop Austin Reaves, Hachimura playing better than your third best player. Again, like let me just go through this one time. Players that played better than the Bucks. I'll just go play like, okay, if your third best player is Khris Middleton, players that played better than him: Austin Reaves, D'Angelo Russell, and I don't even talk about Anthony Davis. Rui Hachimura can't outplay Khris Middleton like that. Like those are if you're playing like a Philly, that's the equivalent of Tobias Harris outplaying Khris Middleton. That's how you lose basketball games. Like that. If you're playing Boston, that's Derek White outplaying Khris Middleton, right? Like that's how that will go, and that's ultimately how you can lose games and how you can lose series. So that's where we're going, game ball wise. Let's look around the league and see what's going on. The Dallas Mavericks, hey, Jason Kidd's Mavs are up right now, 109-84 over the Sacramento Kings. That'll be a big win for them if they can pull that off and finish up. Dallas is, and again, so this is a huge game right now for Dallas and Sacramento. Again, everybody standing is watching. This will put Dallas a full game up over the Sacramento Kings and will drop Sacramento into the play-in if Dallas wins this game. So it's a huge game. Dallas has won 4 in a row. They're 8-2 in their last 10. And again, they could. I mean, in theory, let's say the Bucks beat the Pelicans on Thursday night. I mean, they can creep up and get into Pelicans territory in 5th. The Clippers have been on a decline. They're 4-6 in their last 10. Again, I would not be surprised at all if this Dallas team moves up and potentially gets to the 4th spot. They're 2 games out of 4th right now. And a lot of people who are talking junk about Jason Kidd will have to turn back the hands of time there and talk about it. The Golden State Warriors, big time win for them tonight. Again, no Jimmy Butler, 113-92 over the Miami Heat. They needed that bad. The Thunder 119-112 over the Pelicans. So the Pelicans lost again tonight. Those are all the games that are taking place. So again, Bucks lose, but the Heat lose as well. And again, that's another team that, again, if your stand is watching and you're looking at it, Miami right now is pegged in that seventh spot, and they would be your first round opponent. And again, I'm just telling you, I've seen and we've all seen Jimmy Butler outplay Giannis.
And Dame is too friendly. Series. Dame is too friendly to Bam. So I don't know if that's a matchup we want to see. We got to have some piss and vinegar going into that one, and I just don't think Dame has that in him. So I don't know. I just want to point that out.
I don't mind that. I want to ask you guys about this. What do you guys think about Jrue Holiday? The comments Jrue Holiday had today or at least it came out today on Draymond Green's podcast, where Jrue Holiday essentially said that he wanted some advance notice. He thought he should have got 24 hours advance notice of the trade, and he also kind of alluded to. So the second clip that came out that I think is not going to get as much publicity as the first one was when he came out and said that he said something to the effect. He said that the first guy that called him was Khris Middleton, he alluded to Chris Middleton being, a true friend or whatever. Chris Middleton came over. They talked in depth about, the trade, how they think it happened. And it seemed like Jrue Holiday almost alluded to maybe some other people on the team knowing. Wink, wink, nod, nod. If you're reading the tea leaves, I'm assuming he's talking about Giannis. Now, he didn't say that. He said he's cool with it and all that, but it sounded like he kind of was saying, yeah, I don't know who all knew what. It was one of those kind of discussions. But it sounded like he was trying to say maybe Giannis knew, maybe somebody knew. I'm not putting words in his mouth, but that's what the inference was. But he did say that he thought it would be nice to have a 24-hour heads-up notice. Instead, he got called, basically as soon as the trade went down. What do you think about Jrue Holiday and kind of his thoughts about that?
Khris, I'm gonna let you go first.
Hell no. Why you need a 24-hour notice? I don't get it. Another interesting thing he kind of slipped in at the end was like, oh, we won here. Yeah, we could have won a lot more. I'll tell you that. We could have won a lot more here. And they felt like they needed to make a move. I think this was the right one. I think you made the right move for the Bucks' future. And, no, you don't deserve a 24-hour notice. This is the NBA. When everybody says this is a business, that's what they mean. And you don't get any sort of gratitude because you won a championship 2 years prior after putting up basically – he had a good play against the Celtics, but they still didn't find a way to close it out due to the tour dates. So I will say two straight years of just completely imploding. And you being at the helm of that, I don't know if you deserve that kind of respect. I appreciate what he did here. I love Jrue as a person. I think he's a great dude from what I see, and he's a good player. But, when it's a move like that, when the Bucks weren't even rumored to get Dame, and that could be the situation that happened is just like they didn't know they were going to get Dame either. And then once they pulled the trigger, once they finally swooped in and got him, they might have been just as surprised as you, Jrue. So, that's where I'm at with that. I don't think you should have got a notice or anything. They tried to call him too. He didn't answer.
Said he was asleep. I have zero sympathy for this dude, and here's why. I get that he was a part of the core and he helped bring a title to this place in 40 years, right? First off, Jrue, you've been traded, 3-4 times now, right? You got traded from the 76ers to the Pelicans. You got traded from the Pelicans to the Bucks. You got traded from the Bucks to the man. Come on, man. Like, why you acting real brand new right now? Like you don't know how this thing works, right? And I understand that you enjoyed it and you embrace the community. And I'm assuming he probably did that in other cities. And I know his wife was crying about how these men are families and all of our kids walk to school together. And you just want to garner as much sympathy as you can, right? But the reality of it is nothing's changed about this business. We know how this thing works. You clearly know how this thing works because you've been traded numerous different times, right? You wanted a 24-hour, so you wanted a notice before the notice, right? You wanted the notice before the notice. You couldn't even wake up from a nap. You saw your boss calling you. It was like, man, I'm going to hit this later. I'm sleeping good right now. Seriously, are we supposed to feel bad for you? Right? So that's the first thing, right? But here's the more important point. Go to therapy. Go to therapy. If you mad and you in your feelings and you just can't get over it, and every single chance you get, you crying about it, and you just, it was just, go to therapy, right? I don't know. BetterHelp doesn't sponsor this show, but I heard it's like $300 a month. You can swing that. Come on, man. Go to therapy. Go to therapy. Well, how long are we gonna have to hear about how hurt your feelings are, right? We know it. We get it. You don't like Boston, right? Boston ain't really great for folks that look like you and me. They're definitely not great for folks that look like Jrue. I'll tell you that, right? So, this is, I get it, right? But on the same note, you have to move on. You have to stop crying about it. You just got to stop crying about it at some point. And we'll give you, did we give him a tribute video?
I think he did get one. Yes. Yeah, he did.
Right. You know what? Hey, somebody, we can send him the path in an email, right? We can say, I was gonna say we can send him the DVD, but I don't like a damn DVD, no disc or nothing. We can send him the tribute video, and when you want to feel good, turn that thing on and watch it, bro. It's no love lost here, but why do we have to keep doing this with Jrue Holiday?
Yeah, I'm with all those. I echo all those sentiments. And again, you wanted 24-hour notice. The 24-hour notice was 24 hours after you let Jimmy Butler say, "I own you." You should have been on notice that that you may not be back in Milwaukee after that. Like there is no. So I and again, the other thing about it, practically, I don't know who knew. I think people, did Giannis know? Did he not know? Maybe he knew something. I think again, what we know about Giannis, I don't think he's like LeBron in the war room and giving, hey, well, trade this guy. I don't think Giannis does that. At best, and again, this is fan fiction. I don't know. I'm guessing maybe Horst say, hey, are you cool if I got to trade Jrue Holiday? And Giannis probably, hey, y'all do whatever you got to do. I don't care, whatever you got to do. I think it's the same way with Mike Budenholzer. Hey, you cool if we trade get rid of Mike Budenholzer? Hey, if you whatever we want to. And so again, by not saying anything, that is almost the affirmative. It's fine without, and that gives Giannis that plausible deniability. But hey, I didn't know anything about it. I'm just telling y'all, you can do it at whatever you want to do. I'm cool with it. Again, it probably didn't help his cause, at least from Jrue Holiday's standpoint. When the moment the trade goes down, next thing you know, Giannis is signing an extension. So it almost was like, yeah, I approve of the move. But yeah, I mean, because my thing is, what if the trade doesn't go down? This was touch and go with Dame. You know, he wanted to be in Miami, probably still wanted to be in Miami. Like, if for whatever reason that trade does not work out, then you have, and we already know Dame is a little sensitive. Sussy is plus. But y'all never see when Dame did.
What? What? Hold on.
Hey, y'all gotta see when Dame was holding when Jrue was holding the Celsius.
Oh yeah. I've seen that. He was.
Wait, hold on. What? Wait,
boy was on some. He was on some Karl Anthony Towns with that joint.
Hey,
he
man,
was on some.
Celsius. No. Jrue. He held the Celsius on Celsius.
What? Was this during the Draymond interview?
He took a sip and he went full on Karl Anthony Towns, bro. Hey,
this is like forever ago. My bad.
It's a good ad though.
I gotta see this, bro.
What?
I'll
send it to you. Yeah, see if you find it. If you don't, I'll find it. That was hilarious. But I don't know why that just came to me. But again, I'm just saying he is a little sensitive. Imagine if Jrue Holiday didn't get traded, and now you sitting there with an upset Jrue Holiday who has to come back. You're not going to get equal value for him. Somebody in the chat just talked about how Jrue Holiday, got the mentioned that he wanted to retire after a couple years too. So again, that could be part of it. Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you. You keep this hush hush, and you get the deal done. That's all.
Oh, I'm watching this. Nah, bruh. Hold on.
What?
Hey, bro.
Hold
on. Go back to it. Go to it, JT. We got you on the full screen.
Nah, bruh. Hey, he on his Caleb Williams. I told y'all he on his Caleb Williams. Caleb, who's trying to be Prince Rogers Nelson. I mean, listen, right? That's exactly who Caleb is trying to be right now.
Like, I mean, and that's the thing. And again, not about Jrue, but on that, those cats. That's the new. They just a little different. The new generation. What is this generation? They're not millennials. What are they? Generation Z, Gen Z. Gen Z. I'm probably looking old myself. Talking about they're interesting cats. Like that is what this generation is. Doing.
Relax.
The kid from Duke is on that. I'm 2 days in college and I'm 3 lectures.
Okay, Jared McClain. Hey.
They all you're gonna see more of this. That's all I'm saying. This is not the last. You're gonna see more.
I feel that, but like, that. I mean, we can't go get clothes out the men's department, bro. Like, what's going on?
Go ahead
and
get you a jacket like me.
I guarantee you didn't go to what's the you didn't go to what's the little women's joint? I don't even. You didn't go to.
I didn't go to Victoria's Secret. No.
Not Victoria's Secret or you're right. Like, you ain't rocking a Donna Karan jacket, right? That ain't. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like,
but
that ain't a Kate Spade jacket, right?
But think about who stars. We talk about it. I mean, who was wearing that kind of? It's those celebrities that kind of started those trends as well, and those were not. And so I think about that too. Those were not your Gen Z folks. Like, look at like Kid Cudi, like all these people in 40 years old and wearing kilts and all. Again, I'm not knocking you if that's what you want to do. I'm just saying that, like you said, I think that it became kind of prevalent and people want to do different things. And now you're just seeing a whole generation that's just full on with it. And again, I'm just saying you're going to see more and more of this as this goes on.
And listen, and I hear you, right? But here's the issue. And here's a question nobody can answer. Caleb Williams gets drafted 1 overall and he goes to the Bears. Now, I've seen the Bears have made this offseason, and we've said, look, They look like this offense is going to be good. This is a top 5 defense. The Bears are going to be nice, right? The question nobody can answer is when these 30-plus-year-old men are in the room and everybody's jobs are on the line and this team starts losing, right? You're going to rally around your quarterback, and that man got on Lord knows what, right? And he in a dress with the nails painted and all this other stuff, and you sitting here like, hey, man, hey, you about to mess with everybody's money and ability to fill their livelihood because I can't take you seriously right now because you on your Dennis Rodman.
Well, and to your point, he's got to play well. He's got to play well.
And that's exactly my point is that if he gets out here and he doesn't play well, and then you got and then you add all this other extra stuff on here. Oh, nope. And the next point I'll make, though, is that if this is the way these young guys are now, right, the Gen Z, if Gen Z is into this, let's say Jaden Daniels, you know what I'm saying, finds himself a skirt. Let's say such and such finds himself stuff to wear, whatever, right? Then some of these old school coaches are not going to be able to coach these guys. They're just not going to do it. I cannot imagine Bill Belichick, right? The game has left an entire generation of coaches. And I think any of these coaches, 65 to 75, there's no way in hell they're going to be able to live with this because football, this does not embody the classic football that we all know.
Well, and you either adjust or you don't. Go ahead, Khris.
Yeah.
I'm just honestly, I'm very confused as to why people do it. I'm not in their shoes. I don't know what the necessary reason is to paint the nails. But where I will say, like, I don't care what you do.
The lipstick, bro.
Yeah, the lipstick is crazy.
Lipstick is pushing it. Chapstick don't hit, bro. You gotta put
lipstick is a little pushing it. But where I will say, like, I don't care about the Duke player, whatever. He's good. He's showing out. He doesn't do anything crazy. But where Caleb Williams got me, and this is why I'm kind of like, I don't really like the guy. When he painted the F Utah on his nails and then got that ass whooped, like, that's showing that, like, dude. Like, you're way too in over your head, not showing up to the combine and doing this for what it seems like. I think he does it to piss people off. And, it's came back to bite him a few times. And so he sticks with it. I don't know. The F Utah situation where they lost to Utah and he had it painted on his nails. They got their ass whooped.
And I agree. And that's where, again, to the point, he's got to play well. And again, and I'm not singling – it's any type of thing that you do that's off of the beaten path. Again, yep. Johnny Manziel, same, like it's the same thing but different. So I want to make sure we're making a distinction that it's not, about. And I can see some comments, but it's not about that. It's about because I don't care what you do, it's whatever. But when you are doing things that are, and I'll just put it's outside of the norm. Yep. Again, Johnny Manziel, he didn't paint his. But when you're outside of norm and you flicking people off and the antics that are not.
You drawing attention to yourself for what you're not doing on the field.
Yeah. When you draw, that's a great way to put it. When you draw attention to yourself, and again, that's what you're doing. When you draw attention to yourself, you have to play well. Again, it goes even like a Cam Newton. All this, anything you did, the way Cam Newton was dressing. Again, it's one of these where it wasn't nothing. It was just kind of different. You wear a funky hat after you lose 42-17 and you throw 3 interceptions. People are going to talk about it. Yeah, you can either put on a suit or put on a regular shirt and go out to the podium, or you do people are just and there. I don't think we're often saying that. People can't talk about it. Yeah, you got F Utah on your nails. You lose to Utah. Yeah, what's going on with that? How did that happen?
You got F Utah on your nails and you lose to Utah. It's not even so much about you losing. It's about how do you respond, right? Then you want to have an attitude and you want to be super sassy, and it's like, yo, hold on, what's going on, bro? Right? Again, same thing in Notre Dame. You want to be super sassy and you want to act like you. I mean, listen, you have all the freedom in the world to be who you are. And I don't think anybody has an issue with that. But I think what people do have an issue with is how you respond when you show up and, like Trey said, you draw attention to yourself. You want to do something extra. Stand in it then. You got to stand in it. You can't start all of a sudden wanting to fight and get attitude with everybody else because they asking you legitimate questions here and you just mad in your fit. Oh, no, hold on, bro. We're not going to get this thing to you both ways. And that's just kind of
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, so anyway, we got a little off track. But yeah, I think, again, going back to Jrue Holiday, you got to listen, man. That's
I had to pause myself when I just said that. So we're good.
Well, I didn't. But
yeah, I thought about it and was like, oh, they about to get me, but y'all let that slide.
I missed it. But yeah, so again, that's kind of how that goes. Any final words on a 128-124 loss Bucks losing to the LA Lakers tonight after having a 19-point lead.
Man, I guess we better get out of here now before the comments start going crazy. They start coming after me for coming after Caleb. I'm just saying, right? If anybody has anything else to say.
No, man, I just think it's another missed opportunity. A lot of this stuff has happened under Doc where, you've given up some leads. You've been blitzed in fourth quarters before against bad teams, Utah, the Jazz that one time, and obviously the Lakers now, I believe, twice. So it's tough. It's tough taking this loss, and I don't necessarily think the sky is falling. I do love what I've seen from the Bucks in the past couple of weeks. I thought they could have been a lot better, but they never made a biddy hit her knees.
Hey.
So that's it. Yeah, that's it. That was just stuck in my head.
Well, yeah, what I'm thinking.
All right, that's all I got though. Yep.
Hey, all right. Yeah, no.
I don't know what's happening. What's happening here?
Don't worry.
What's happening here?
You're not on TikTok, JT.
I'm not.
We get you hip.
I'm not gonna do it. You're not gonna steal my data. Hell no. I'm not reporting nothing.
You want to ban them? You want to ban them?
The People's Republic of China. Nah, I mean, I don't really think we need to. I mean, I think the crux of making what was it? We need to the owners of TikTok making them. They needed to sell it or they're facing a ban. I don't have a problem with forcing them to sell whomever China owns it. Is that right? Like I'm not fully up to speed on this, right?
Yeah,
but I understood
not either.
Forcing them to sell, I have absolutely no issue with, right? The overall ban, I think
my whole thing is, okay, Facebook got all of our data too. Twitter got the data. Everybody got your data.
But that's not the People's Republic of China.
All right, well.
That's the difference. The difference, right?
Where would that TikTok with Richard Jefferson be if it weren't for TikTok? So I would say, it is what it is.
And tell me, right, do me a favor, right? Go buy that ticket to Wuhan. Tell me how you like it around there, and then come back and talk to me about TikTok.
Wow.
I'm sorry, we wilding, bro. We wilding, man. Shout out. We got any listeners in Wuhan, man. My bad. Shout out to our listeners in Wuhan.
Shout out to Wuhan. Again, 128-124. Bucks losing to that.
They took away the Dayton Flyers national championship. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I'm kidding. The COVID. Okay. Oh, wow. That was low. That was a low blow,
Chris.
That
was low. My bad.
That was a low blow.
I had to find some cop out.
Okay. But yeah, 128-124. Bucks lose it. We back Thursday night against the LA Lakers. I got to get us out of here. Again, I don't have much to say, man. Bad loss. Got to regroup. You got the Pelicans Thursday night. Make some believers out of them. You can't lose another one to the Pelicans. You can't drop back-to-back games. Not back-to-back, but you can't drop back-to-back games. You should have won against the LA. And then I think the last time we played New Orleans, we beat the Pelicans. No Brandon Ingram, right? And so I think, again, this is another time, another opportunity to go prove yourselves. And, again, I think you really want a decisive victory because this one was one where you snatched defeat from the jaws of victory tonight. You got to go out and get you one against New Orleans and see if you can get back on the right track. 128-124. Appreciate everybody for watching and listening. Want to appreciate our sponsors, Law Office of Daly M. Johnson. When you need defense off the court, get in touch with him. He can be found at 411 West Main Street, Suite 110 in Madison, Wisconsin, 608-893-8370.
70.
There we go. And yeah, so we'll be back Thursday night. Bucks, Pels. Appreciate everybody listening. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate all the likes, the follows, the subscriptions. We'll get out a lot of content. Khris has been getting out all the content. We'll continue to do that. All of it helps us a tremendous amount. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend about the Cream City crossover. We'll keep bringing all this heat to you. And this has been a Cream City Media Group production from the Guru Trey Crosby III.
JT, you should change it to, well, guess what? I'm JT.
Nah, I'm making it say, hey.
No, Chris King, though. Go Marquette. I think they play Thursday.
Hey,
Friday?
We'll get you hit. Yeah, I don't know. When does Marquette play?
I think it's Thursday or Friday.
Is it Friday?
They play Thursday?
I know Arizona leads off with the Clemson, and that's the first game on Thursday. I think that's around 3 or 4 o'clock our time.
But yeah, go Marquette. Go Golden Eagles. That's it.
They're down.
Now Marquette, Friday night, 7:09 Eastern against NC State.
Okay.
So Marquette Golden Eagles play Friday night. So
do we do
it?
Hey, it is Friday night. I wouldn't be. Hey, maybe I'll do a Marquette post game show.
I might slide.
You might mess with me. All right,
yeah, I might message you on that. All right, let's. But yeah, we'll wrap this thing up. Get out of here. Hey, if I am your enemy, it's only because I dare to tell you the truth. Don't take no wood nickels.